Hey everyone, here we are for the start of our lab. So the first thing you are going to need to do is grab a sheet of paper and get it set up like I have here. So it can be any sheet of paper as long as you've got some space to write these things down. The headings that you're going to need are formula, blue ID, blue number, color ID, color number, percent ion, percent whole acid, drawing, and strong or weak. So go ahead and pause the video right here, get your paper set up, and then when you're ready, go ahead and hit play again. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this and what it has to do with the lab that we're working on. So what we are going to practice over the next 2 days is identifying the difference between strong and weak acids. Then next week, we're going to talk about what that means in terms of pH. And then eventually we'll bring it back to that video that we looked at the start with the different colors and the indicators and the magic trick. Okay, so at this time, if you go to the next slide in the PowerPoint, it should have a picture of a Petri dish, so like a circular glass dish with some beads inside. So go ahead and flip to the next slide. Make sure that that is there. If it is, you are all set to go. If not, pause the video, figure out where that slide is, and then come back. So you should see the picture of the Petri dish that says HF in it. So what I want you to do under that first formula heading is go ahead and write HF. Okay, so HF is a hydrogen attached to a fluorine. This is something called hydrofluoric acid. Don't worry about the chemical name for it. We just need to recognize that HF. Okay, we can tell that it's an acid because it has an H attached. So when we break that apart, remember that would break into those H plus and F minus ions, just like we talked about over the last couple of days. Okay. Now, as we're looking at that picture, what we need to know, every time we see a blue bead in this lab, that blue bead is going to be H plus. Okay? So what we should notice on this picture is if I count up the number of blue beads, there are 10 of them. Okay? The ID of our colored bead, so in this case that's brown, is our F minus. And there are 10 of those if I count them up as well. I'll give you a hint. There are always going to be 10 total molecules. Okay? So there are going to be, in this case, because it's only an H attached to an F, there are 10 H's and 10 F's. That would make 10 molecules. Okay? So this next part down here, the percent ion, is the percent that's going to be important to us. So if we look at that picture, of those 10 pairs that are there, we need to figure out how many of them are separated and how many of them are still together. So if you remember yesterday, we talked about the percent dissociation, or how many split apart into their ions. We said that strong acids have 100% dissociation, so they have 100% of them that split into their ions, and weak acids are less than 100%. So if we look at this HF example, we can see that 9 of those pairs are stuck together with brown stuck to blue. And there's 1 pair that is separated. So for our case, the percent ion, we're going to say that 1 out of 10 splits apart into its ions. So for those of us that are good with mental math, 1 out of 10 is 10%. Remember, if you can't figure out the percent, you can always do this in the calculator where you divide 1 by 10 and then multiply it by 100 to get your percent. okay? Then we want to look at the percent that are whole acids. So how many of them are attached together? We see that it's 9 out of 10 are attached together, which is 90%, okay? So we should be able to tell at this point if this is a strong or a weak acid. If we think back to our definitions from yesterday, we said that strong acids completely dissociate. So strong acids should have 100% here. This one doesn't, so this is going to be a weak acid. Okay, the last thing we need to do is we need to do our drawing. So in the picture, there are beads. Those aren't actual chemicals. They don't actually tell us anything. What we need to do is we're going to create a drawing that uses the actual chemicals. Okay, so pretend this is a beaker. It's got some liquid in it. In that liquid, we would have 9 HFs that are attached together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then remember, we've got that one that's split apart into its ions. So one molecule is going to be written as H plus and F minus. I'm going to circle those because those are the important ones. They're the ones that have separated. Okay, hopefully this process makes sense. What you're going to do for the lab is this same process for a couple of other Petri dishes. So what you'll need to do is set up another sheet of paper just like this. It can be the second half of your piece of paper, it can be the back side, or you can get a whole new piece, totally up to you. You're going to fill in all of these categories, and then when you're done, you're going to take a picture of that and upload it into the Google form. Okay, there should be a button that asks you to upload. You just need to upload from your phone right into that Google form. So it might be easiest if you open the phone form right on your phone. Otherwise, you've got to send your picture over to your computer to upload it that way. Either way will work. It's just like what we've done in class. Okay, so do this for the 2 examples that you have in this Google form. And then tomorrow, we're going to do a few more examples. If you're feeling a little shaky about it, wait until I give you your feedback on the first part before you jump into the second part. I'll make sure to check those between Wednesday and Thursday so that when you pull it up on Thursday, you should see your feedback from the first part so that you can make sure that you're doing it right. As always, if you have questions, you can get in contact with me either via email or by coming to the Google Meet that we have set up. So the Google Meet is just like an open session where you can pop in. You don't even have to have your camera on. You can just use your voice and you can ask a question and I'll give you the feedback. It helps if you have your camera so I can see what you're doing and you can see what I'm doing, but you definitely don't have to. But it's another way that you can ask a question if it's hard for you to type your question into an email. Hopefully you've got this and you're good to go. Go ahead and try that first understanding check.